David Blake had spent 20 years carrying a name he could barely say without feeling his jaw tighten: Tom Mercer. The man who, with one bad investment and a handful of deceitful promises, drove David's father's small construction company into bankruptcy. The same bankruptcy that took their home, their savings, and his father's will to live. David was only 17 then, old enough to remember the sound of his mother crying behind closed doors, and his father's quiet apologies over instant coffee. Now, at 37, he had rebuilt himself, owning a modest repair shop on the edge of Cedar Falls, Minnesota. Life was steady, peaceful even, until fate decided to reopen the one door he'd kept locked. If you believe true kindness always finds its way back, please tap the like button now and subscribe to support more stories like this. It happened on an ordinary Tuesday. The first snow had just dusted the streets, and David was closing up the shop when an old, beat-up sedan pulled into the lot. The man who stepped out looked frail, his hands trembling as he held the steering wheel. His voice was soft, uncertain. "Son, I think something's wrong with my brakes. I barely made it here." David froze. That voice. That name printed on the customer slip. Tom Mercer. For a moment, everything inside him went still. The years peeled back in an instant: the foreclosure notice, his mother packing boxes, his father's silent breakdown. Every wound reopened. He could have turned the man away. He could have said we're closed and sent him down the street. But something in Tom's eyes, a hollow guilt mixed with time's quiet punishment, made David stay. He knelt beside the car, his gloved hands steady though his heart thundered. The brake lines were corroded. It was a wonder the old man had made it at all. "You could have died driving like this," David muttered. Tom chuckled sadly. "Wouldn't be the worst thing." That sentence hit harder than David expected. He stood, meeting Tom's tired gaze. "Don't say that." Tom shrugged weakly. "After everything I did, maybe I've earned it." David knew then, this man remembered. Over the next hour, David worked in silence, replacing the lines, cleaning the rot, checking every bolt twice. When the job was done, he wrote up the invoice, then stared at it for a long moment. $320. A fair price. But it felt like so much more. It felt like a decision, one that could either keep his heart chained to the past or finally set it free. When Tom reached for his wallet, David stopped him. "No charge." The old man blinked, confused. "No. I can't let you." "You can," David interrupted, his voice low. "You already took more from me than money ever could. I think it's time I stopped paying for something you broke decades ago." Tom's eyes welled up. You know who I am." "I do," David said simply. "And I forgive you." Then, before Tom could speak again, David did something neither of them could have expected. He stepped forward and pulled the old man into an embrace. It wasn't a gentle hug, it was a full, trembling, release of decades kind of hug. Tom broke down in his arms, whispering through tears, "I'm so sorry, son. I ruined everything. I thought I was helping your father grow the business. I never meant for any of it to happen." "I know," David whispered back. "It's over now." In that freezing Minnesota twilight, with snow catching on their coats and steam rising from the car's engine, something unexplainable happened, a transfer of pain into peace. David had imagined this moment for years, expecting rage or revenge. Instead, what he found was the pure, unburdening quiet of forgiveness. Tom's hands shook as he took David's. "You fixed more than my brakes today." David smiled faintly. "Maybe we both did." When Tom drove off, his taillights disappearing into the white horizon, David stood there long after. The snow kept falling, soft and unrelenting, like grace itself. For the first time in decades, he felt no anger, no ache. Just warmth. That night, he went home to his wife and kids, hugged them tighter than usual, and whispered a silent thank you, to the man who broke them once, and unknowingly helped them heal now. Because sometimes, the real miracle isn't in what's fixed, but in what's finally released. We'd love to hear your story. What is the most memorable act of unexpected kindness you have witnessed or received? Share it in the comments below. And if this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that forgiveness is the purest form of freedom, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe for more stories that prove kindness always wins.